Hello, welcome to the Creative Jumpstart interview for 2019. The theme this year is going to be My Home is My Castle, and I'm super excited to have Marlene van Niekerk, I think I would say that as a German, but I don't know how to say it in Dutch, here
Fun.
today. And I'm super happy to see her. We've never met before. She does beautiful, beautiful things, you will see. And she lives in the Netherlands. She was born in South Africa. And I'm just going to hand it over to her and let her introduce herself. Hi, Marlene.
Hi, Leslie. Thank you for inviting me. What can I say about myself? My name is Marlene Meijer, and I'm from the Netherlands. And I'm an artist that makes mostly happy, joyful art. And that is my wish for everything is always to create happy art, to make people smile, and not to have any negative emotions when people look at my art. I think there's enough of negativity in the world, and that with my art I try to ignore that part of life and just go for the nice, whimsical, playful things in life, and mostly very colorful and influenced by where I was born and lived as a child.
Oh, we will definitely talk about that. That's very interesting, actually. So that is so cool, Marlene. So the theme of this year's, as I said, is My Home is My Castle, right? And as for those of you who don't know that yet, Creative Jumpstart is running in its 8th years. I usually invite 27 to 31 artists that will join, and each of them get a theme, and then they make a video that is about 10 minutes long, 10 to 15 minutes, let's say. And so this year, all they know is it is Home is My Castle, and it could be anything that, kind of influences them. So we're recording this video actually a little bit early, so I'm not sure if Marlene has actually even done her video, thought about it, so
Well, I have actually thought about it. I'm busy making the video, and I know exactly what I'm going to do, but I won't reveal too much. When you actually gave me the thing with your home is your castle, well, what I'm going to do, because I'm not really sure that that's my genre. And then I went to and I sat down and I looked at the products and things that I've used, and I looked at my art foamies and I looked at my stamps and my everything, and I saw everything. I've got houses and everything, and all my designs, I always have something house related. And I thought, my home is my castle. Will I use something like that?
Yeah.
Is that what it's about? Because to me, home really means your base, your moral, your inside. Your home is your security, basically. And so I didn't think at first that home was a home, but I did decide to go whimsical.
Yeah.
In my, I can reveal that, and I decided to. My home is also, you can dream your own home. You can actually, you don't have to live with what you have. You can dream it up. You can decide what you want. And that's what I did with my lesson.
That sounds really, really intriguing and interesting. That's cool.
So that is something that I just wanted to make it joyful and playful and very dreamy.
Nice.
And so that is what My Home is My Castle is to me. This lesson is all about, is creating your own home, creating your own dream.
Right. Do you take inspiration? For me, that's a big thing because, I wrote a book that's Artful Adventures, and it's all about like how you take inspiration from the things around you. So I'm super interested because you were born in South Africa, you moved to the Netherlands. I don't know if you were an adult already when you did, or when you were a kid, or...
I was, as a child, I lived in South Africa. My parents had this beautiful pottery factory, and as a child, I loved pottering about in there with them. And they had local people that did all hand-painted pottery, so it was very cool and very African-based. It was black, white, and primary colors, and that's something that I really do like. And then I finished, I went to high school. In high school, I had several art subjects. I was very lucky in that. So I could have art painting, I had graphic design and art history. And
in South Africa, right?
In South Africa. Yeah. And when I was 18, I actually decided that I'm going to au pair for a year. So I came to the Netherlands. I au paired for a year. I went back to South Africa after my year as au pair because my father said, you should go and backpack or see the world, because you can't base your studies on what you've seen in South Africa, because we grew up in a period where South Africa was under boycott.
Yeah.
We weren't exposed to everything always. Right. So I went back and I went to study, and I studied theatre technology. It's backstage theatre, making props, decor painting, costume design, makeup art, body painting. And I loved it. But the industry wasn't for me. I'm a bit of a plain Jane. I'm very normal. And the industry was just too buzzing for me.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things. So I decided, no, this is not going to work. So I actually went totally away from art and anything art related. And I studied in the beauty industry.
Yeah.
And I actually finished my studies, and my sister was in Dubai. She was a air hostess for Emirates Airlines, and she was homesick. She said, I'm coming home. I said, don't be stupid. You've got a brilliant job. Stay there. Find me a job. I'll come. So I said that, and was saying that in the next week I had a job in Dubai.
Wow.
And I left there, and for the same company, I could work and do training for them all over the world. I flew to America or to England, and I got my trainings there. And then I went back to the Middle East, and then I had to go to Bahrain or Oman or Kuwait, and I taught the people there the trainings that I had. Same company. So I had a lovely job, and that's where I met my Dutch husband.
Yeah.
In the East, and I met him, got married, moved to this big city in the northern part of the Netherlands. This tiny spot.
So how do you think, like, that's so super interesting? I also think you're not a plain Jane, by the way, because otherwise you wouldn't have such an interesting, cool life. But like, how do you think all these travels and growing up in South Africa and now being in the Netherlands, like, how do you think this is kind of maybe represented in your art and your products?
Well, I did put something out here to show you. For example, this is, I don't know if you can see that actually.
Yeah, the Dutch houses.
My Dutch houses for art foamies. And I actually think they're not very Dutch, because the line work and the way of drawing is very loose and not straight. And it's more very naive, very native. So it's a bit of a mix between the Dutch houses and actually what I was used to in South Africa, the loose lines, the vibrant, bold lines. But if you look at this one, this is a stencil from the Crafters Workshop.
Yeah.
And that's the houses that you would find in Amsterdam with the water in front of them. A lot of people thought in the beginning that it was more something like Venice, but it's actually just Holland.
Yeah.
So it's represented in my work. And this is like the graphic shrink film.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's houses. And when you look at that, that is all, it's kind of sea theme, because I live in I live in a small coastal town. And the houses are all that black and white line work, loose line work, all wobbly. I call them my wonky houses.
It's beautiful. I love it.
And this is for Studio Light, my new signature collection. You can also see them. Maybe at the back you can see them better.
Oh, yeah, cool.
But there's also that wonky, not straight lines. And I think that's an influence that I really had from South Africa, that loose line work, keep it free, and very bright colors.
Yeah.
And that is not just influenced by South Africa, but also by the Netherlands. The bright tulip fields where I live, it's all tulips around me during the what do you call it, in the spring?
In the spring, yeah. Yeah. That is, which, you know, I think every American is envy you for, because flowers in America are so crazy expensive. We actually get a lot of flowers and tulips from the Netherlands. They're flown in. So when I first moved here, I could not believe how expensive flowers were. So everyone is probably like super envious that you can even see them all around you. I don't know why no one is growing tulips here, but I guess there's a soil, whatever. So anyway, you know, yeah, I can. I know, I don't know, soil. So, that is so funny. So, being someone who grew up in a different country myself too, and you know, there's always, I love living where I live. I'm sure you love living where you live too, and I call it my home too. But there's of course things that I kind of miss, or that there's one thing that I thought resonated with me when you said you're your own kind of like house, or you're like, I feel the same thing. Like, I think you can be happy if you're in yourself, grounded and happy. You can be happy anywhere. If you're not happy, then it doesn't matter. You can live in the best place of the world. It doesn't matter, right? But is there something in particular that in South Africa where you like say, yeah, I kind of miss that, and that's still part of like a home feeling? Like, I have that with food, certain things, or of course people, but
of course, we've got lots of barbecues. And it always rains here, so we don't have a lot of barbecues here, but
it rains in the Netherlands? No.
No. Well, I have to say we had a beautiful summer. We actually also had a water shortage for a while.
Oh yeah.
Because it was really dry. But no, to answer your question, I think what I really miss is the sounds, the smells, the buzzing of South Africa. When you would walk down the streets, you would get these taxi at the taxi ranks, and you would hear all this very high African music beats coming from the sound, and people chatting, and it will be chaos actually, but I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved the sound of it, and it was a very naive kind of chaos, and the smells and the sounds, and also the smell before it rains in South Africa. Smell that the sand is. The water and the sand are mixing. You can smell it actually.
Oh wow!
I miss that. That is the thing that I miss the most. Is just the normal things and your friends, and not people not knowing. I think really what's I think everyone is the most, and you as well, is that when I meet people here and I socialize with people here that don't know where I come from.
Right. Yes.
Don't know where you grew up, they don't know your parents, they don't know which schools you went to, they've got no idea and where you fit into a ladder, who you are, and that's sometimes it's difficult. So when we were in France now on holiday, we met up with friends of ours, of my parents, and it was brilliant for my kids to speak to them because they knew the way that I grew up and they knew the way that we did. I love the way that they can tell stories, and I think that is who you are. It's also where you lived and where you are. That's your home. Yeah. The whole street, the whole path is part of the home, not only where you lived.
Yeah, that's a I love how you said that. That's a great point, because you when you live in a different country, you kind of like people are missing this puzzle of you, and it's on top of what if you I mean, you can be in your country where you were born and grew up, and you can meet someone when you're older, but you don't have to explain like your cultural background, or like why are you the way in some ways, right?
The school systems are the same,
Exactly.
the whole the Netherlands and stuff like that. And for us, that's like totally different. I had a mission to figure it all out
Yes.
the way that it works. Yeah, it was like, whoa, how do we do this?
Yeah, I think that's why it's so wonderful. I think it's so important for everyone to travel and see other things, because it makes you feel more empathetic for people from other countries that are in your own countries, because then you can understand, because you have seen that things are maybe a little bit different, and doesn't mean that it's worse. It could be in a lot of parts better, and other things could be worse, but you're kind of like getting a feel of, oh yeah, there is a different world out there, and now I understand why some people, why Germans are so rude. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. We've got a lot of Germans here. Where I live is actually a very, very touristic spot. And there's one thing that I sometimes think, and it's when I go grocery shopping, they can spend hours relaxing, walking through the aisles and chattering about the ham or the cheese. And I'm like, get away, I want to get there. Do my grocery shopping. But they're all on holiday and they're super relaxed and with all big families all together doing the grocery shopping, and I'm like, get out of the way.
I love that. My husband and I actually do grocery shopping a lot together, because we don't have a car. And he always is like, zoom, zoom, zoom. And I love to look at shelves and, like, take my time. See? I never realized that might be a cultural thing.
Oh, so relaxed and so, look at this. Oh, lovely. Ooh. I've got enough. I have to go home. I have to cook. I have to teach.
That is so funny. Maybe you should, like, in one of the things that I saw in New York, you should have like a tourist line. I saw that in New York. I actually had a class with someone at MoMA who actually did it. He made like a little line with he had like a little cart which dropped paint to make a line on the pavement. And then he stenciled on the left, it was like New Yorkers. And I think on the right, it was like tourists. So that they would, because they're so slow. So you should do that maybe in the supermarket. So it's like Dutch people that have no time.
Oh, well, it's fun. I mean, I complain, but if it wasn't here, I would be so boring. Yeah. I hope they have absolutely nothing to complain about. So if there's the worst thing in life to complain about, I'll go for it.
Oh, that's okay, right?
I'll go for it any day.
Hey, Marlene, so I have two more questions, because we're going to get to an end very soon, just because... Unfortunately, we have to, but I enjoy talking with you. One question is like, how do you jumpstart your own creativity if you feel like, I'm stuck?
I put the TV on. I do put the TV on. When I get stuck, I think it's because I'm overthinking it. And so I need to be where there's movement. I've got my studio upstairs, and then I know it's time to go down. And I sit in the middle of everyone, or when I'm on holiday on the camping site, I sit where everyone's walking past, and I start working, because without starting, that's one thing. People think it's going to fly into your head. Yeah. It doesn't work like that. You should be holding a pen and actually be doing something for inspiration to get onto the page.
Right.
You should be actually jumpstart yourself. Just start.
Yes.
And what I also do is I choose minimal supplies. I don't go and sit and get everything around me. I take out maybe a Stabilo oil pencil and my water brush, or I would get a pencil and a fine liner and my watercolors, or I'll just do acrylic paints and a pencil, do a basic sketch and do that, or I'll take my art foamies out and my gel press. So I will choose something that I'm going to work within, and it narrows it down. because sometimes all of these choices really influences where your mind goes.
Mm-hmm.
You're all over the place sometimes, and you don't know what you're going to work with, and what should you use that stamp, or should you do this?
Right.
I just get confused. So I narrow it down for myself. I go sit down, I take my journal out, and I just start.
Mm-hmm.
And by putting the TV on, I start watching TV, and I'm busy working, so I just get distracted more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not as focused on the creative process, and without noticing it, I do things and I end up liking it most of the time. I usually say if you don't like something, it's just not finished.
Yeah, I say that too.
Yeah, it's just usually if you just go on, or even if you just turn it all out.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
It's just not finished, so there's nothing lost in the process.
Right. So that was super cool. I loved it. That was a great conversation, Marlene. I'm so happy we got to do that. Is there anything you would like to add?
I'll be in the UK and in Spain this year in 2019 to teach. So if there's people that want to join in that live classes, they can always come in on that. And I'll once again be promoting a new line pretty soon.
Nice.
For the rest, I'm very happy to be with you guys and to give a class, and I hope everyone enjoys it. And go and see what I'm all about, and they can see it on my website, and then they can decide for themselves if they would like it to follow.
I'm sure they will. I'm looking so forward to seeing your lesson. It's going to be super fun. And I love your idea already. I love that you gave us a little hint. And thank you so much for being part of Creative Jumpstart and for this interview, Marlene.
Thank you very much, Ned. Nice speaking to you.
Bye.